Lagos Talks
91.3.
News.
The federal government has inaugurated a 13-member presidential committee on the review of number and strategy for resourcing Nigerian foreign missions nationwide. Inaugurating the committee on Tuesday, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa, explained that the action is to enable government tackle the root cause of the critical state of affairs of Nigerian diplomatic missions.
The establishment and the deliberate composition of this presidential committee will enable Mr. President tackle the root cause of the critical state of affairs of our diplomatic missions and its impact on the image of Nigeria on the international arena in general. The timeline for the activities of this committee is 3 months, and its terms of reference determine the current number, categories of Nigeria's diplomatic missions, subject matter desks worldwide, and categorize their strategic importance and impact worldwide and make recommendations as appropriate. We identify and categorize the revenue generation capacity of missions, performance in this regard, causes and level of indebtedness.
Responding on behalf of other members, the committee's chairman, Ambassador Martin Umoibi, affirmed the committee's readiness to do all things within their capacities to fulfill demands and confidence reposed in them by President Buhari.
Mr. President's expression in this regard can also be gauged through a deep analysis of the composition of this committee, an august assemblage of first-class diplomats, accomplished technocrats, seasoned administrators, and competent public officers, serving and retired. As chairman of this committee, I wish to affirm our readiness to do all within our capacity to fulfill the demands of the faith and confidence reposed in us by Mr. President and the distinguished Secretary to the Government of the Federation, and indeed the generality of the good people of our dear country, Nigeria.
The federal government has urged citizens to rather be at alert and not panic following recent reports making rounds about a planned terror attack in Abuja. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, who made a disclosure yesterday in Abuja at the ongoing UNESCO Global Media and Information Literacy Week, said the military and other security forces have been very proactive in tackling security issues and are doing everything possible to secure and protect Nigerians and foreigners living in the country. The minister, while speaking on the session topic, National Media and Information Literacy Frameworks Sustaining Beyond Disinformation, said the threat of disinformation to national and global peace and stability is glaring as it undermines the trust by citizens in the system. Also in his contribution at the session, the Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, Dr. Ali Ibrahim Pantami, said what the country needs is a societal reorientation that should focus more on self-regulation, as disinformation or fake news could be the source of the Third World War globally. The Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN Western Zone, has attributed the increase in the pump price of premium motor spirit, otherwise known as petrol, to the arbitrary hike in private depot prices. Its chairman, Alhaji Dele Tajuddin, who disclosed this in an interview with newsmen yesterday in Lagos, condemned the increase and said that there had been increase in depot price of fuel from 148 naira per litre to 178 naira per litre since last week. According to him, none of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited (NNPC) depots has product, and the private depots took advantage of the situation to hike the price, although selling at 170 naira per litre is not realistic. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has reassured the Economic Community of West Africa States, ECOWAS, that Nigeria's 2023 general elections will be technology-driven. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmoud Yakubu gave the assurance when he received the delegation of ECOWAS pre-election fact-finding mission to Nigeria, led by Dr. Kadwo Afarikian, former Chairman, Electoral Commission of Ghana, at the Commission's headquarters in Abuja. The INEC Chairman, commending ECOWAS for its commitment to credible elections in Nigeria, said it was the first to arrive Nigeria for the election. Speaking on behalf of the delegation, Dr. Remi Ajibewa said that they were in Nigeria in line with ECOWAS Supplementary Protocol 2021 to observe elections as Articles 11, 12 and 13 of the protocol mandated the Commission to do so. Meanwhile, INEC has scheduled the conduct of Bayelsa, Imo and Kogi governorship elections for November 11, 2023. INEC's National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, said the decision was in fulfillment of the requirement of Section 28, subsection 1 of the Electoral Act 2022, which mandated the Commission to publish the notice of election not later than 360 days before the date of the election. Party primaries will be held from March 27 to April 17, 2023, while the online portal for the submission of nomination forms EC9 and EC9B by political parties opens at 9 a.m. on April 24, 2023 and closes at 6 p.m. on May 5, 2023. The final list of candidates will be published on June 9, 2023, while campaign by political parties commences on June 14, 2023 and ends at midnight on November 9, 2023. The tenure of the incumbent governor of Imo State would end on January 14, 2024, while that of Kogi would end on January 26, 2024, and Bayelsa would end on February 13, 2024. The UN says more than 2.5 million people in Nigeria, 60% of them children, are in need of humanitarian assistance following the worst flooding in a decade. The UN's Children's Agency, UNICEF, added that people were at increased risk of waterborne diseases, drowning and malnutrition. Urgent shelter, food and water supplies are needed, as well as health and sanitation support, according to the body. Aid groups say nearly 8,000 cases of cholera have been recorded so far, with more than 300 people already dead from the disease. Reports affirm that 34 out of Nigeria's 36 states have been affected by flooding. President Muhammadu Buhari, at an audience he granted the former United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon on the sidelines of the first World Bio Summit 2022 in South Korea, said Nigeria is experiencing the negative fallout of climate change seen in the flooding in different parts of the country, as well as encroaching desertification and drought in northern Nigeria. The Lagos State government has ordered a coroner's inquest to ascertain the cause of death of the late Bimbo Ogbonna, the wife of popular Lagos auto dealer Ikechukwu Ogbonna, popularly known as IVD. The late Bimbo allegedly died on October 15, 2022 as a result of severe fire injuries she sustained in her matrimonial home. Some other accounts attribute her death to an alleged long history of domestic violence. The State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, Muyosoro Nigbanjo, who gave the directive for the inquest, disclosed this in a press statement made available to journalists. Lagos State Governor Mr. Babajide Sanwo-Olu has revealed that his administration's agenda is to make the state a hub of creative industry. Speaking at the graduation ceremony of 890 trainees of the Lagos State Creative Industry Initiative, the governor restated his administration's commitment to collaborate with stakeholders in the entertainment industry to train, retrain and acquire skills that would create an ecosystem to give livelihood to creative minds. You're still listening to the World News. Moving on to the foreign scene, Somalia has finalized a controversial $7 million oil production sharing deal with the U.S. firm Coastline Exploration after several amendments to the original agreement. President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud has said in a statement that the federal government will do all it can to support the project, which covers 7 oil blocks, and proceed with an exploration program. Coastline will drill an exploration well and hopes to find multiple offshore oil fields. The deal with Coastline created a political tension in February when it was denounced as illegal by the previous Somali president and prime minister, who cited a presidential decree that barred government agencies from entering into international contracts during the election period. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has warned of difficult decisions ahead as his government grapples with a profound economic crisis in his first speech as Prime Minister, noting that he had been elected as Tory leader to fix the mistakes made by his predecessor Lee Strauss. Mr. Sunak promised to deliver the manifesto that won the Conservatives a landslide election victory in 2019. His speech outside number 10 Downing Street came after he was appointed Prime Minister by King Charles.
Our country is facing a profound economic crisis. The aftermath of COVID still lingers. Putin's war in Ukraine has destabilized energy markets and supply chains the world over. I want to pay tribute to my predecessor, Liz Truss. She was not wrong to want to improve growth in this country. It is a noble aim, and I admired her restlessness to create change. But some mistakes were made. And I have been elected as leader of my party and your Prime Minister, in part, to fix them. And that work begins immediately.
Rishi Sunak has begun cabinet reshuffling with Jacob Rees-Mogg among ministers leaving government. In business news this morning, Managing Director of the Nigerian Ports Authority (NPA), Mohammed Bello Koko, says a call-up system would be deployed to Lekki Port to reduce gridlock in Oni and Apapa Port. Bello Koko, speaking during the State House media briefing yesterday at the Presidential Villa in Abuja, said the Oni port in Rivers State is becoming the fastest growing port, hence the need to deploy the call-up system to other ports across the country.
The current and existing ports of Tinkan and Apapa, what is the major problem? Those ports were built in the 70s. The city has caught up with those ports, and that's why you have perennial traffic and gridlock. Hitherto, we used to have manual manifest of trucks into the ports. The two ports handle approximately 1,500 truck movement daily into the ports, and we felt there was need for us to automate that. So we entered into partnership with Truck Tracing Park to come up with an electronic call-up system, which we named ATO. And the essence of that here is for us to improve efficiency there. And what we are doing now is to try to deploy it to other port locations.
Commenting on Eastern ports, Bello Koko said that the agency has improved service quality and delivery at the Eastern ports so that the ports can serve as competitive alternatives to the ports in Lagos. Finally, in sport news, UEFA Champions League action continued last night on match day 5 of the group stage, and few teams have secured spots in the round of 16. Chelsea sealed progress to the last 16 with a game to spare after a 2-1 win away to Salzburg. Manchester City already secured their last 16 spot too, despite a goalless draw with Borussia Dortmund. AC Milan would need all to play for in the final group game after thrashing Dynamo Zagreb 4-0, while RB Leipzig beat Real Madrid 3-2. Other results saw Celtic and Shakhtar Donetsk end 1-1. Sevilla beat FC Copenhagen 3-0. Benfica beat Juventus 4-3, while PSG went rampant into the last 16 after beating Maccabi Haifa 7-2. Match day 5 group of match continues tonight with Ajax against Liverpool. Napoli face Rangers. Tottenham tackles Sporting, and Club Brugge against FC Porto. There is also Inter Milan against Victoria Plzen, Atletico Madrid face Bayern Leverkusen, Barcelona host Bayern Munich, and Frankfurt welcome Marseille. Cristiano Ronaldo returned to training with Manchester United's first team at Carrington on Tuesday. Ronaldo was dropped for United's 1-1 draw at Chelsea on Saturday Night Football as punishment for refusing to go on as a late substitute and for leaving early in last week's win over Spurs. However, manager Erik ten Hag and the Portugal forward have since been in constant dialogue, and there were no showdown talks at Carrington on Tuesday. Ten Hag's focus is on preparing the squad for Thursday's Europa League group stage clash with Sheriff Tiraspol at Old Trafford, and Ronaldo is part of that, while captain Harry Maguire, Donny van der Beek and Aaron Wan-Bissaka have also all returned to the squad.
Lagos Talks
91.3